Hi, welcome to Scicoga Chat. My name is Ken. These are David and Don, and we're here to talk about Scicoga. For those of you who don't know what Scicoga is, we'll even explain that to you. We're just that kind of guy. Anyway, Scicoga is a portmanteau. It's made up of syllables of three different words, and those are the things that we're concerned about most in this topic of conversation. Sci comes from sci-fi fantasy. Co is the first syllable of comics, and Ga is from gaming. Scicoga. So this is Scicoga Chat. We're talking about sci-fi fantasy, comics, gaming, and other things that are close enough that we go ahead and incorporate it in anyway. Um, well, we work here in a Ultimate Realities. It's a geek shop here inside the Elk City Indoor Flea Market in Elk City, Oklahoma. So now that we've explained who we are and what we're doing, let's chat. So, does anyone have a preferred topic they'd like to discuss this week?
It's the 50th anniversary of Star Trek.
50th anniversary of Star Trek was last week. This was a very big deal. I am a major Trekkie. Don's, I don't know how much of a Trekkie would you say?
I'm more of a Captain Trek.
A Captain Trek.
You're a major. I'm a little less of a captain.
Ow.
David,
Dude, I like puns, so that hurt. Okay, David on the other hand.
He's probably a corporal captain.
No, a corporal captain. This is not MASH. And he ate radar, although I do see the resemblance. You were clean shaven, given the wool cap. Oh my God, you can totally pull that off.
Are you sure you can edit this? Anyway.
No, actually, I'm not. At this point in time, I see no reason to do so.
Yeah. This is how we are, people.
Yeah, we are.
Or watch something else.
Yes, we're like this. And the sad thing is, we're all completely sober. Anyway, David here, though, he's one of those fence. He's a fence crosser because although he does appreciate Star Trek, he is not that kind of fence. It's the religious issue, you know.
Right.
It's like I'm not going to force my kids on religion. I'm going to let them make their own choices and choose between Star Trek and Star Wars themselves. And he's a force file.
We're turning him over to what is the dark side of Star Trek?
Nemesis.
All right.
Okay. He's not growly because he disagrees. I want that on the record. That movie pisses him off. Okay. All right. Well, first of all,
PG-13.
No. You can say that on television. That word is acceptable if it describes an emotional state. If it describes a biological function, then it's PG-13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Anyway,
not at the moment. Back to Star Trek.
Okay, so
tangent number 1, by the way. I'm going to keep track.
No. I think the corporal captain counts as one too.
Okay,
and now we had a tangent about tangents.
3.
I'm enjoying this. Okay, hopefully somebody else is too. Anyway, Star Trek 50th anniversary. Okay, first of all, since it is the 50th anniversary of the original series, we need to discuss the original series itself a little bit before we go into the franchise as a whole, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Maybe everyone will get the card.
Oh. Sorry. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Go.
I started on the card.
There's a lightsaber in the closet. Go play with it and amuse yourself. The funny thing is, there actually is a lightsaber over there. But anyway. Okay, so. The original series, a lot of people who did not discover it before Next Generation really are down on the original series.
Yeah.
And it's because there's a lot of sexism that's still in play in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hokey storylines and things of this nature. What people don't realize, though, is a lot of that is due more to the time in which it was made than the people who were making it. Because these guys did not have a great budget, and they had to do some amazing stuff with some crappy material. I mean, I knew those boulders were made of styrofoam when I was a kid. You know, it's like,
String.
and
You mean that wasn't a real door?
okay,
Just because they didn't know how to edit out the wires yet.
they didn't. You know, I'm sorry. Considering what they had to work with, the special effects are amazing.
For that time period, yeah.
And what's really cool is one thing that I really love is the remastered editions.
Because
Which that's I recently rewatched the original series. I'd never seen the remastered stuff, and so for me it was like, oh my god, that planet looks awesome. It was really cool, and the external space stuff. I mean, oh my gosh, none of the phaser fire looked stupid anymore.
Yeah.
On the ship to ship phaser fire, it looked cool. Which I mean, even when I was 8, I was like, but it's fun anyway. Who cares? But let's face it, the original series did set a standard.
Yeah.
I went through the same thing with Knight Rider.
Tangent number 4.
You'll have to forgive him. He's off his meds.
Technically.
And we haven't had the plate in his head tightened lately.
That's head?
Hey, never mind. Nope. Not taking that particular tangent.
Oh, Ken, who's your favorite Star Trek original series character?
Well, no, I'll see if you can figure that one out better, laddie. If you say Uhura, I'm slapping you.
I never know what she was like in her quarters.
Spock apparently did. Wait, sorry,
No,
that's reboot.
Sorry.
Wait a minute, wait. Do we know that never happened in the original?
Hey, they were there 3 years, weren't they? I think we only caught a glimpse of them every once in a while.
Yeah.
Spock's the best one.
Hey, Spock is an awesome character. But I'm sorry, Scotty, and I have to admit that part of my adoration of Scotty comes from my respect for Jimmy Doohan himself.
Yeah.
Because this is a guy who invaded on D-Day, got shot 6 times, lost a finger, got shot in the chest, only survived because he was a smoker and had a cigarette case in his pocket. And
Not that we're saying smoking is a good thing.
yeah. Okay, smoking is a very good thing if it's the 1940s and you need a reason to have a silver cigarette case in your pocket to deflect a German bullet. Okay, we can agree on that, right? So if you travel back to the 1940s, smoking will probably save your life. Of course, if you're a modern smoker and you go back to the 1940s, that stuff's going to make you gag like nobody's business. But that's
Tangent number 5.
good point. Okay, we really need a little counter. I really want to see if we get a little counter
Get one
right here in front of
or
you.
something, yeah, right about here on the Green Lantern, right about there.
Unrelated tangent. Ding! Wow, that's our second tangent.
7.
I thought we were only on 6.
I'm counting ahead.
You're counting what?
I'm counting ahead.
Oh, ahead. I thought you said you were counting head. And I'm like, there's 3 of us. How the hell many heads are there to count? Don't. Stop it.
That was 7.
He doesn't count. Anyway. Anyways, okay, so, but Scotty is my favorite original series character. Spock is obviously David's. Who's yours?
Dr. McCoy.
Bones.
Bones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of creepy. Did anybody else notice that we picked the 3 that the actors who brought them to life are all dead? Jimmy Doohan was the second to go. DeForest Kelley was the first to go, and Nimoy went last year. And those are our 3 favorites.
Yeah.
That is so wild. I guess it's a good thing none of us said Shatner. The man probably would have died today.
They'd blame us.
Well, I think they'd be entitled to at this point. Although I personally am very glad none of us said Sulu. Because George Takei is awesome and I want to keep him around.
Yeah.
Okay, so after Next Generation, or after the original series, well, before Next Generation, came the animated series.
Oh, God.
Hey,
I've seen it, don't intend to.
there's one thing unequivocally true that you can say in favor of the animated series. It's better than the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, God.
get back here.
No comment.
Okay. But,
I'm not getting hazard pay for this conversation.
however, after that came Star Trek the Motion Picture, which, okay, Star Trek fans all agree, even those of us who actually liked all the movies, although some of them really pushed that boundary. With the original cast, the odd-numbered ones were the weakest of them. And that carried all the way through to the merging of casts. Because, let's face it, 1 was weaker than 2. 3 was weaker than 4, which is the second best of the original series.
One of the best.
But 6. Okay, 5 was the weakest of the original cast movies.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
6, The Undiscovered Country. Out of the park. That one was rock. Yes? We all agree?
I like 4 better.
You liked 4 better?
Come on, whenever do you see them out of like fish out of water? How often do you see them not knowing what to do?
Well, there is that.
I mean,
There's
they're
one-
wandering around on
Just
a
goes to show you
street.
opinion.
Yeah. Hey, that's what the point of this is.
Yep.
Is to share opinions and tick people off because we don't share theirs and get them yelling at us about it. Because that's actually what we want to have happen.
Spock had his best line ever in number 4. One damn minute, Admiral.
No, I disagree. I think his best line was in 6. If I were human, I believe my response would be, go to hell. If I were human.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like, but let's face it, I'm sorry, the best movie moments, the best movie lines come when the guys who are uber logical cuss.
Right.
One damn minute, Admiral, the go to hell, Data's exclamation when the Enterprise was crashing into the Viridian 3. I didn't say it, so it's still okay. And then his line in Insurrection, when he said, I believe I speak for the others, sir, when I say, to hell with our orders.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was First Contact, not Insurrection, excuse me.
Yeah.
But,
Back to...
okay, so, but the movies, the original cast movies, they were good. I enjoyed them. God help me, I even enjoyed Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. I have a problem.
Well, I didn't know that.
I
don't know what to think.
so many comments.
I'm trying to hold back.
I can't feel it.
Well, Star Trek V, the Final Frontier. Oh my gosh, Shatner can be very creative at times. That was not one of them. And Sybok, in my opinion, one of the 3 worst Star Trek villains.
It's
The worst Star Trek. It's like he was. He made no sense. Everything about him made no sense. I think that's probably why he's never ever been mentioned again ever in anything.
except this.
Yeah, good point. But Next Generation.
Yes, please.
Okay. Who's your favorite Next Generation character? Data, I know. Just leave it there. Don?
Worf.
Worf. Kind of torn, to be perfectly honest, because I'm torn between Worf and Geordi.
Yeah.
With Picard coming up right behind him.
You're talking Enterprise crew first.
Yeah, Enterprise. Yeah, but well, let's face it. If we're just going to include everybody, Q.
Come on.
And I'm sorry, Loxana Troy. Loxana Troy is awesome. We just watched an episode with her on it earlier today. It was one of her better ones. But that's one of the things I liked about, especially starting with Next Generation. They really did a good job with it. But even the original series had those minor characters that you never saw very often, but they were the same ones.
Yeah.
You know, because Mr. Kyle,
Yeah.
who was Scotty's number 2. Little things like that, And then, of course, there's Nurse Chapel, who was played by Nigel Barrett,
Who was
who's
also
the only person that has been in every incarnation of Star Trek that is canon.
Yeah.
Plus a couple that aren't. That's the really wild thing about it. She was actually in a couple that aren't canon. But she was in the original pilot. She was in the original series. She was the voice of the computer in all of the Next Generation era ones, as well as playing Waxana Troy in 2 of those
And
series.
I'm sorry, the episode where she's talking to the computer. The Waxana talking to the computer is, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's no worse than
Genius.
that's no different than, okay, if you want genius for somebody having to make a living talking to themselves for a scene, how about Brent Spiner
Oh gosh.
in the episode Brothers,
Right.
where he not only played Data but also Lore and Dr. Noonien Soon, all at the same time. And then just to show that wasn't a fluke, then there was that one, I can't remember the name of the episode off the top of my head. It was that ancient archive, and it downloaded all those different people into Data, and he was a small child and an old man and all this other kind of stuff. Just going.
Yeah.
I mean, we played at least 2 of their mythological figures for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm not going to give either one of these guys guff about their favorite character, because there aren't any really bad characters that are make return appearances on Star Trek. Because so then after Next Generation we get DS9. Okay, you guys both know who my favorite DS9 character is, I think.
Let's go.
Oh, really?
No, that's not right.
No.
It's
No, my young friend.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Plain and simple Garrick.
Yes.
Garrick is my favorite character on that show. He is one of my favorite overall Star Trek characters. He's just, he in the top 15 Star Trek quotes that I posted today on our site. He was one of the people that got a quote. Although interestingly enough, and it was not planned, Picard got more than anybody else.
Really?
Yeah, Picard got almost, he got like a quarter to a third of all the quotes on the dang list. Which, when I realized that, it kind of shocked me, but then I thought about it, it's like, no, because Picard was the most articulate.
I think Jadzia is my
DS9 character.
I really had to think about it.
Well,
but yeah, she had the most development, I think.
Mm.
Maybe not the most, but she had.
Well, see, that's one of the things that shows so many characters had development.
Yeah.
Because you look at how much Odo changed during the course of it, or Kira. And I'm sorry, if you want to talk about development, look at Worf.
Yep.
Worf changed a lot there.
Even Quark.
But I think the character who changed the most, of the Starfleet personnel, the one who changed the most was Dr. Bashir. Because when he started out, pretty much every time he opened his mouth, you wanted to slap him. Right?
But then you realize eventually he's just kind of.
And then you got to understand him a little more, and by the time the end of the show, he was somebody you'd actually want to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
Although I loved the development of O'Brien.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But O'Brien and Worf, both of them were much longer developed than the other characters because they got another series to work on them. And let's face it.
Kira Nerys.
Well, and let's face it, if you're going to talk about a character who really developed a lot, you got to go with the kids.
Yeah.
Jake Sisko and Nog.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Nog. I mean, holy crap. He got to the point where it's like, oh, yeah, he's a lieutenant? 7 years ago, he was stealing from people on the promenade. Now he's a freaking lieutenant? But then again, everybody on that show ended up like somehow elevated,
Even Morn.
Morn, probably the greatest character to do nothing.
And if you ever watch it, I swear, you can actually watch him talking. A Tribble.
To a Tribble.
And Trials
you can't
and
hear him.
Tribulations. You can actually see him talking to the Tribble.
And if
If
you
you get-
have no
if you
idea
get
what
that,
we're talking about, why are you still watching this? You have no interest in Star Trek, obviously. Because if you don't know what a tribble is, you have no interest in Star Trek.
I
Agreed?
brought a whole case.
Yeah. Of
Anyway,
tribbles?
yes.
How dare you?
Oh, I'm not letting them out of the case.
Okay, so after DS9, then we move to Voyager. Now, I feel it needs to be said that, and it's not because we're misogynistic bastards, because we're not, and I can verify that in a moment. I don't know about Don, but David and I, neither one of us are huge fans of Catherine Janeway.
I haven't seen the whole Voyager, but
You've seen enough to watch her do. My
That's part of the
favorite pet
reason.
peeve is that she'll invite everybody to say everything and then just blow them off.
Mhm.
It's like, yes, Picard occasionally took all their advice and did what his own thing was anyway, but he never made it feel like a blow off.
Mhm.
Hell, Kirk didn't even do that. But Janeway, she had this way of making it seem like, okay, well, none of you agree with me, so you're all wrong. I was hoping I'd find out a couple of you were right. And, that was my big problem with Janeway. However, that having been said, when we did a comparison of the various captains, ranking them on different criteria, she tied with Picard.
Yeah.
And we like Picard a lot better. So, we are fair. We give her her props. The woman had skills. Not going to deny that.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt she was a bit of an arrogant toe rag. But who's your favorite Voyager character?
Probably Doctor.
The Doctor. I can respect that. He's not my pick, but he's
Yeah.
definitely one I can respect. David?
That is until 7 of 9 goes. Then I forgot whatever.
That's just because.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
that's
We'll
because it's
record the
so
episodes. You
much
can listen to them as radio theater, and then you'll be able to actually enjoy the other characters again.
Sure.
maybe.
But
I don't know because
say,
Well, it depends on how far have you gotten. That's the
I
question.
like Chakotay.
Chakotay's kind of a
Yeah,
cool
and
character.
I haven't been all the way through, but I
And
really do
Robert
like the
Beltran
Doctor,
has
too.
redeemed himself.
So,
Because at one point in time, Robert Beltran said that he wished he'd never done Voyager.
Yeah.
Neelix.
Neelix is one of my two.
Yeah.
Neelix and B'Elanna Torres.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, B'Elanna is just
I
awesome.
like Harry Kim too because
Yeah.
he just kept developing more and more.
And speaking of developing, Tom Paris.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the company screw up in the beginning, and after a couple of years, he's like the guy that they trust to do undercover missions, pretending to be the company screw up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if David's seen that far yet, but
And
Sorry.
then, but some of the stuff that he eventually goes on to do, and heck, even when he got arrested and demoted
yeah.
and spent, 2 months in the brig, even then he was doing that, and it was a case of you couldn't really, it wasn't the old Tom Paris being a jerk and screwing up. It was, this one was doing something that he felt was a moral imperative, and so you had to respect him. He did it. He broke. He violated regulations and orders, but he did it for a reason that he thought was good and noble. So I can't fault him on that. But man, that's one of the things that Star Trek has been great on, is development. I mean, look at the way they develop some of the tertiary characters.
Yeah.
I mean, Alyssa Ogawa, Dr. Crusher's nurse.
Yeah.
Naomi Wildman on Voyager. Hell, Rom. Rom is a great example of a tertiary character that,
Became a little hop to Grand Nagus.
Well, and don't forget that in between those times he became a resistance fighter and an engineer. And I mean, some of the things that he did is like, and that's one of the things I like about all these ships, all of them, which we're still one to get to. Let's go ahead and do that first.
Yeah.
Enterprise. Now, how much have you watched Enterprise?
Not very much, but I want to see.
Yeah, you definitely want to see more.
I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen enough. So
Yeah, Archer is awesome.
Yeah.
Trip Tucker,
Yeah.
really cool. I was actually kind of disappointed that they never really let Yoshi be more of a female
Yeah.
presence.
yeah,
She just happened to be a presence that was female.
yeah,
It was like all the female presence went to Paul because Jolene Blaylock is smoking hot. But it's not like
yeah,
Yoshi was hard to look at. And I'm sorry, the woman, her intellectual level kind of put her on a match with T'Pol, which, considering one was a Vulcan, one was human, that was an impressive feat.
yeah.
And I just wish they'd given her more of a presence. You know, it was like a case of, oh, she's not quite as smoking hot, sultry model runway looking, so we're just going to kind of have her over here most of the time.
And how long did it last? 3?
4.
4.
Yeah,
I think
and the
I've
reason I
only seen
remember
2.
that is because the original series and Enterprise add up to the same as each of the Next Generation era series did.
Yeah.
But it's, God, I can't remember, it's like 690 some episodes of television that Star Trek was responsible for, plus 13 feature-length movies, plus all the fan-made stuff and things of that nature that have gone out there. But I think the thing that made Star Trek so good, in my humble opinion, is the fact that it was a fabulous mix of action, suspense, drama, comedy. I mean, there were episodes that were just freaking hilarious.
Yes.
There were episodes, I'm sorry, you want to talk about funny episodes? Harry Mudd. Okay, I'm sorry, Harry Mudd, just like the name makes real Trekkies laugh, because Harry Mudd was such an awesome, fun character. There was actually, with Star Trek 4 or Star Trek 3, yeah, I guess I can't remember which one it was, but one of them was supposed to, in the original draft, have a trial for Captain Kirk. And then, you know, it could have been 3 because that was before Nimoy decided he wanted out and then wanted back in.
Yeah.
But they were going to have Harry Mudd in it. But the actor was in poor health and he died a month before the movie ended up getting released. So it was like, it would have been so cool to have seen Harry Mudd one more time.
Yeah.
He did have one appearance in the animated series, which is kind of enough to justify the existence of the series. And, you know, yes, it's hokey. Yes, it's very hokey, but it has its moments. But
Life Day.
that's his.
I know.
Okay, but
Kind of balanced it.
okay, so now we've.
Boba Fett's only shining moment.
I want you to think about that for a moment.
I think you had-
Boba Fett's shining moment is the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I think you did more as a kid than you did as an adult. Anyway, back to Star Trek.
In the movies, absolutely he did. But you lost count of your tangents.
No, I just
Okay.
gave up.
Okay. Same thing, only different.
12.
Anyway, okay, so we've covered we have not yet covered the length and breadth of Star Trek because now that brings us to the reboot
Reboots.
series. Now,
Which I like.
the reboot series, I like them. I do like them, but I do have a concern about them. And that is the reboot series is an action series.
Yeah.
It's an action series. There's some comedy in it. I'm not going to say they've taken it all away. There's some drama in it. I'm not going to say they've taken it away. There's not a lot in the way of suspense.
Yeah.
But the current series, it's an action series. You know, and I mean, even in the movies that were more popular were not pure action. Star Trek IV The Voyage Home, which is your favorite of the original. That's a hilarious episode. There's very little actual action in it. Nor does there need to be, because it's just a well-made movie. And that's my concern about the reboot, is that it's you know, I love what you did with it, Abrams, but I really wish somebody would come pick it up who's like, oh, right, this is Star Trek, not Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars is an action series. It has been an action series all along. All 7, soon to be 8 movies have been action oriented. If you want to see stuff that's not pure action, you need to watch Clone Wars and Rebels. That's kind of how I feel about it, because those are part of the canon, and there's stuff in there that has more of the drama and stuff like that. But with Star Trek, it's not all action all the time. And the movies have reflected that until now. That's my only major concern. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying it's not necessarily Star Trek anymore.
Aren't they starting a new Star Trek show?
There is a new Star Trek series that is supposed to come out this year. CBS is supposed to air the pilot, and then you have to have CBS Go, their streaming service, in order, or CBS Now, I guess, whichever it is. But you have to get their streaming service in order to watch the rest of the series.
Have to wait until it comes out on DVD.
Yeah,
Yay.
or I'm hoping that they'll actually let it go to Netflix eventually too, because if they'll do that, I'll be okay. But it's like if they hold Star Trek hostage, all right, $10 so you don't get to watch 4 episodes. Okay. It's like,
But we'll give you the first one free.
yeah.
That's
Yes, we're going with the drug dealer approach. Amen. Hey, my man,
Candy?
that's some Trek.
What's the candy? Because the predator. 13. Anyway.
Okay, but now that we've done, okay, one of the things about the reboot series that's the most fun to me is the recastings. Because some people weren't happy about things and some people were. And I hate to say it, especially now with what happened earlier this year. I have a feeling it's more the writing than it is the acting, but I wasn't real thrilled with Anton Yelchin's performance as Chekhov. And I feel bad saying that because the man died earlier this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they way overdid the accent, making the computer incapable of understanding what he was saying. I think they were using him as a joke character, which that's a trend that they got into in the original cast movies, but he was not a joke character most of the time. And I think that they denigrated him to that. And like I say, I think it's more writing than the acting. But I didn't like Anton Yelchin's Chekhov. On the flip side, 3 of those cast members, as far as I'm concerned, they have every much right to claim the role as the originals. And as it happens, it's Spock, McCoy, and Scotty.
Yeah.
And I had not thought about that until just now, which is kind of wild. But I'm sorry, Carl Urban.
Especially since I did not think I was going to get over the heroes.
Oh, Zachary Quinto's Siler on
Oh,
Heroes.
it was creepy.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was so creepy. But you know what? If you watched the whole thing like I did, it made it very easy because he got to be somebody you could actually like.
Yeah, but he was still.
No, but I'm sorry. At the very end of the series, he wasn't creepy anymore. He was like jovial and friendly and supportive and like creepy. Well, the only reason it's creepy is because the only reason he's creepy is because you keep on expecting something to happen.
Exactly.
It wasn't him. It was how well he had played it before,
Yes.
and it was because you couldn't let go of that. Let it go. Oh wait, nope. Sorry. No Disney trademarks.
Although he could
Don't.
say pretty well.
And the level of irrelevance of that has yet to be measured. Thank you. But no, Zachary Quinto, he was awesome as Spock. I've loved him as Spock. Carl Urban nailed McCoy, in my humble opinion. And I don't think anybody but Simon Pegg could have picked up the baton of Scotty.
Yeah.
Especially because he not only, it's like, okay, yeah, he got the accent, he got the humor, he got that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't think I can remember 4 numbers? What was the last one again? And it was something I could so see Jimmy doing, and it was I love that. But yeah, Star Trek, and I think the thing that's really amazing about Star Trek is not only have there been hundreds of hours. I think I figured it out that if you base it on 40 minutes per episode and 2 hours per movie, it's something like 400 and some odd hours of Star Trek. It's like, oh my gosh, it would take you like 2.5 weeks of non-stop viewing to get through all of it without commercials.
For 3 weeks with the pause button going in the bathroom.
Are we sleeping?
Apparently.
Hey.
But anyways, but not only is it there has that influence, and let's face it, it has definitely added so much to the the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody that has not at least heard about Vulcans and seen this and heard about Klingons, and everybody, and I mean everybody, at one point in time or another has said or heard someone say, "Beam me up, Scotty, there's no intelligent life here."
Yeah.
Which is really hilarious because "Beam me up, Scotty" was never actually said during the original series, but people seem to think that it was.
Scotty beat me up was as close as it got.
Right.
And number 4.
"Beam me up, Mr. Scott" was said once.
Yeah.
But it was never that particular combination of words. It's just like everybody talks about, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a whatever." He never said "damn it."
Yeah.
"Damn it" was something that got added to it. I think it was in the 80s that people really started adding that.
Yeah.
And of course, the running joke after Star Trek V was done by Shatner, and Star Trek IV was done by Nimoy. Star Trek VI was going to be directed by DeForest Kelley, and it was going to be Star Trek VI, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a director." Which I still think that would have been hilarious. But it's not only that, but it's the changes to the world that have been made because of Star Trek. Some people say Star Trek predicted the future. I don't think it predicted the future as much as it made the future. It guided the future, because flip phones were inspired by Star Trek communicators. Cell phones, just basic cell phones, were first inspired because of the Star Trek communicator.
Yeah.
Okay, their personal access data displays, their pads, their tablets, people, or smartphones, because some of them. But so much. I mean, the touch displays that they used on Next Generation.
Yeah.
Nope, that didn't exist anywhere. It's common now. There was just so many things that and I was reading an article about it, and they are this far away from creating antimatter. They have actually managed to do a form of teleportation on the atomic level.
Yeah.
But that's still, it's amazing to me, because our tech is going to get to Star Trek levels way before Star Trek did, because of the fact that we have Star Trek inspiring people to create these things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's already a form of tricorder in existence. Hyposprays are a thing. And not only are hyposprays a thing, but when Next Generation created their version of the hypospray, a company that makes them sent them one that they make, because it was the same basic style. And of course, the Star Trek people, being smart, they painted it gold and used it as an alien device in another episode. Which, sorry, I give them full credit. That was brilliant.
You told me comes from my favorite movie, that they're close to making transparent aluminum.
Oh yes, they have a form of transparent aluminum available, and it's like all these different things that just like, Star Trek said it, so we're going to make it happen. And
we're still waiting on lightsabers, aren't we, David?
Yeah, let's see. Let's think about this. Some of these inventions for Star Trek were only come up with in the 80s, and we still have yet, and we've been getting them. Other things are from the '60s, so but
Yeah.
there's only been a couple of things that were significant inventions in the Star Wars universe, and the only one that's unique is lightsabers. So where's our lightsabers, David? That's what I thought.
I started.
Yes, he did. That was tangent number 38, I think.
Oh, we're not that far ahead.
Told me to. Anyway.
So.
Okay, so
we could talk for days.
Okay.
About this.
Now,
this.
One more thing I want to do before we wrap up.
Yeah,
one more thing.
Things that at least they can talk days about.
Oh yeah.
Non-stop.
Okay, I'm sorry. If we're going to talk about what David can talk about, we have to do a comparison between Deanna Troy, Jadzia Dax, and 7 of 9. Anyways,
long-term study on David's part for those characters.
Yeah, a lot of time spent alone working on that subject.
Hey.
But no, in the totality of Star Trek, to your knowledge, who is your favorite Star Trek villain? It doesn't have to be somebody who was always a villain, but it needs to be somebody who at least once was a villain.
I gotta go with the guy. Q. Q is.
Do you share my belief that Trelane was a member of the Q?
Awesome.
Because he had the power to chase him with a planet. So I'm like, they at least know who the Q are.
Yeah.
But okay, Q, that's good. How about you?
I don't know. I think lore, but I'm like I'm still going with Data, but I really like lore. I think.
Oh, Lore's a good villain.
Yeah.
I got to go with Khan Noonien Singh. Excuse me. And what's really wild, I actually like the Cumberbatch version better than the Montalban. I love Ricardo Montalban in his role. He did a fantastic job with it. But the way the Cumberbatch one was written, and Cumberbatch, oh man, he nailed that performance. His version was a whole lot scarier. This was somebody who you knew at a moment's notice would punch you in the stomach and rip out your spine if he felt like it. With Montalban's version of Khan, he'd have to be pissed at you first. This guy, you just got a feeling he would do it just because, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
But
Q, you agree? That's one thing I'd like to know.
Or disagree.
Yeah.
The Q has been in more episodes than lore or.
That's true, but
and it's the fact that
one of my tops would also be counted in that, and he's already been mentioned, and that's Garrick. And like Q, he played both sides of the fence. But also, awesome villain. You cannot help but hate her.
Oh.
You already know where I'm going with it. Say it. Kai Wynn. Oh my God. That woman, she comes every once in a while. She would do exactly what Cisco told her, and then that's that moment where you're like, oh, maybe she'll learn something. And then the very next time, no, she's right back to being again.
Lursa and Vator.
Awesome villains.
Quite unbridged, but pretty fun.
You're talking about Kai Wynn, obviously.
Yeah. But then you have Celia. Not Celia, but what's I've lost track here. Daughter of Tasha Yar.
Oh, I can't remember her name offhand either, but the Romulan, she was awesome.
Half Romulan, half.
Yeah. Half Romulan, half Yar. And then there was Ishara Yar.
Ishara Yar, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, she may have been evil, but sorry, I'm a guy, get over it. But That's another thing Star Trek has always done well. Has always done well about giving women a better role than what people expect.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the original pilot, he had a woman as second in command of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And then the network said, get rid of the woman in second command. Nobody will ever buy that. Get rid of the guy with the ears. So Roddenberry says, well, I'll do one, but not the other. I said, fine, get rid of the woman. So you made the guy with the ears second in command. You gotta love Roddenberry's attitude. And then when he got to do his own show in syndication, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we have a woman as chief of security.
Yeah.
We have a woman as our chief medical officer.
Yeah.
We got a woman over here who, although most of the time she wasn't wearing a uniform, so you forgot that she actually was a lieutenant commander for most of the show. Mm-hmm. She was the one that the captain went to for advice more than every other character.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so we got the one with the captain's ear, the one who can give one person on the ship who can give the captain orders.
Yeah, the doctor.
And the person who is responsible for the captain's safety as well as safety of everybody else on board. All women. And they were all awesome. You know, and well, of course, the best woman on that show was not a member of the crew. Guinan was totally cool. I'm sorry, the wisest character in the history of the show.
Yeah. Yes.
Where the captain would go for advice.
Yeah, the only person that he would go, well,
almost as much as.
Well, he would go to Deanna for more advice, but he went to Guinan for advice
that was outside the
bigger issue.
Yeah.
And although.
Especially since she was.
Am I the only one who thinks it's a tragedy that Guinan and Neelix never met?
Yeah.
Wow.
The two of them would have been so awesome. Although the episode of Voyager when Neelix left the ship, I totally dug on that because that was one where it's like, wow, Tuvok, you have a soul. Mm-hmm. Who knew? That was. But anyways, okay, so that's our rambling on Star Trek.
Minor rambling.
Yeah.
You should come to the shop and listen.
If we said anything that offended you, let us know what it is and why it offended you. Chances are it's not going to keep us from doing it again unless somebody said something that I'm not aware of. But it comes down to the fact that we invite debate. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you think I'm an idiot. You know, I mean, heck, you can put on there that I'm a fat idiot. I don't care. I already know the first part, and more often than not, I'm aware of the second part. But let us know what you think. Is there something you think we should have talked about on this that we didn't? Okay? But anyways, so that's enough for now. Next week, we're going to come up with a different topic, and we're going to post another video. We're going to try to do this as a regular series.
Speaking of that, let them tell us what they want to hear.
Let's talk about it.
I was getting to that.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
I was just saying.
But if there's something you want us to talk about, put it in the comments. Now, I'll let you know there are certain things that we are going to talk about. You don't have to tell us to do it. We are going to be discussing upcoming movies that are coming out in the next few months, which that most notably includes Don's Armpit.
That's a movie?
That's not coming up in the next few months. That's not coming out until next summer. So relax. We got time.
I want it now.
So do I. I'm sorry.
Well,
best Spider-Man so far.
Now too.
Okay.
So,
well, you got to wait till next year for that. But the movies that are coming out in the next few months that we are absolutely going to be discussing: Doctor Strange, the next installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, number 14, and the first acknowledgement in the movies of the mystic side of the MCU. This has got a lot of ramifications. It could open the door for a lot of other characters. Going to be huge. And speaking of mystic, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is in the world of Harry Potter, and it's based off of one of the companion books called the Hogwarts Library books that J.K. Rowling wrote. Originally, these were written for the proceeds to go to charities specifically. and it was called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's one of Harry's school books. For those of you who read the books, you recognize that, and many of you may have read that book. It's a lot of fun. You should get it. But it's not about the book itself. It's about the book being researched and written. The main character is Newt Scamander, who writes the book, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And the first movie starts off in New York, 80 years before Harry Potter goes to Hogwarts. So it should be around 1900, 1910, I think it is. I'm trying to remember when Harry, it should be around 1910, 1911 in New York City. Really excited to see where it goes. I cannot wait to check it all out. And then in December, we have the first Star Wars project that does not revolve around the Skywalker clan. The first Star Wars project to add more depth to the Star Wars universe. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and we are so looking forward to that one. Some of us are looking forward to it just because it's Star Wars, and anything Star Wars is enough to get us through the day.
Wait, he can see this, can't he? Usually I can do this without him seeing this, but it's over there.
I think you're being betrayed by technology. However, I also think he doesn't care.
Sure.
But some of us are also
I'm going to try to deny it.
I'm also looking forward to seeing a Star Wars movie that theoretically should not involve a single Jedi.
I'm thinking I saw there was one in the preview, but yeah.
Well, because at this point in time, the only Jedi are Yoda and Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Now, there might be a Sith in there because Vader's still around, and I don't know, you might have a secret apprentice again. I don't know if they're ever going to put anything like that in the movies. But there should be no Jedi in there, and really, I think it would be best if there was no Sith in it either. I would like to see regular people in the Star Wars universe.
I think that is what they're doing.
I'm hoping that's what it's doing.
I mean, there may be like a guest appearance, or not a guest appearance, but
yeah, that's something else that Star Wars really needs to do. Not necessarily just more women, but
better
developed female characters. Because I'm sorry, I love Natalie Portman, but Padme Amidala is a weak character. She starts off good, she has her good moments, but for the most part, she's just kind of a milquetoast character. It had its moments, but it definitely did not live up to its potential. On the other hand, Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia likewise did not get to live up to her potential. I'm sorry, she's the first person they showed to successfully kill a stormtrooper, and they barely ever have her do any combat. I mean, yeah, Return of the Jedi was the best one for her because she did a lot of butt kicking in that movie.
Yeah.
But she never really came into her own as well as she should have. In episode 7, she was the older general, and that worked. But and Rey, Rey was an awesome character. But I'd like to see some more strong female characters, which, according to the previews, we're going to see.
Yep.
So here's hoping. Well, you started it.
No.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get 20 before we. I know.
Anyways, so
butterflies 20. Okay, we're there.
Oh, the spiders! I could have been followed the butterflies. Okay, I had to make it a true tangent. Just a word doesn't count. And also, if you've noticed, we're complete and total idiots. That's fine. If there's any questions you want to ask us,
fine that way.
If there's any questions you want to ask us, ask away. We're more than happy to answer just about anything within reason.
I'm trying to catch up, David. I broke him. Yay!
I've been broke for years, man. I thought you knew that. But no.
Sorry.
I don't think you are. Anyways, if you like what we've done here, if you've had some fun with us, we're going to do this again, and it's probably not going to get any better, just for the record. Obviously, this is an amateur thing going on, but with any luck, we're going to be able to up the ante on things a while. It just depends on if anybody actually watches the show. And if you do watch, please drop us a comment, maybe even subscribe. Or you can even go to our Facebook page, Ultimate Realities, ltd.co. Check us out on there. We do some fun stuff there. I talked about the top 15 Star Trek quotes. That's where you'll find it. We'll see if we can put some links on this because I don't know how to do that and I'm not sure how well that's going to work. But like this video if you would, share it with your friends. See if you can use it to start some conversations and maybe even start some with us. If there's a topic you want to discuss, let us know. If there's a character, something you want to discuss, let us know. Another thing that we do is we do a thing called honorary Scicoga. Some of the characters that have been inducted into the honorary Scicoga include the Lone Ranger, Robin Hood, Zorro, the Three Musketeers, James Bond, and other all super spies like Jason Bourne and Nikita, Sherlock Holmes. You know, all these characters we call honorary Scicoga because there's really no sci-fi, fantasy, comic, or gaming element for them to originated. But let's face it, these characters do the superhero thing. I mean, let's face it, the only difference between Zorro and Batman is a different century and an accent. Because Bob Kane actually used Zorro as part of the basis of the character. I know what I'm talking about. Look it up. Anyway, so, yeah, no, that's another one.
Yeah, we went over. Because it has to be in 10, so we have to keep going until it hits 30.
Nope.
Well, in that case, we should go for 42 every time. And if you don't know what that
Is that
is,
the answer?
if you don't know what 42 means, look it up because true Scicogonauts will know. And also people with sense. That's right, it's Jackie Robinson's jersey number when he joined the majors. It actually is. But that's not the actual answer, though. So, but tune in next week when our heroes may finally get a clue. So,
22.
So, I hope you liked this. We had fun doing it, which I guess makes it not a total waste of time. But if you guys like it, please let us know. Check out our Facebook page. Subscribe, like, share, do all that fun stuff. Pretend that we're actually entertaining, okay?
And if we're not, let us know.
With any luck, you'll see us next week. So, thank you very much and have a good night.
Live long and...
Live long and prosper.
Oh, that's it. Right, yeah.
Health and long life.